If you missed this Sunday's message, this is an abbreviated version of that in case you don't have time to watch the entire message. If you do, however, want a more detailed version or you want all the references, that will be in the Sunday service video for June the 27th. Again, this is just the abbreviation of aleve. How do we alleviate some of the financial pressures that we find ourselves dealing with, knowing that these pressures impact a lot of areas of our lives, our attitude towards life, our emotional well-being. It can even affect our physical well-being. It certainly can affect our relationships with people and our relationships with Jesus Christ. So how do we alleviate this pressure that we are carrying in regard to our finances? Well, there is a general template to start with that creates the parameters to work within to bring about these solutions. And most of the time when I've encountered people who are saying, I'm struggling financially, I would like some guidance, it is almost always coming from one of these two problems or both. Now, these two problems are a part of three measures we need to take to alleviate this stress. The first two are very practical. The third one has to do specifically with our relationship with the Lord. So again, when people are struggling financially, if you are struggling financially, it is likely one of two things that need to be resolved. Either one, you need to reduce your expenses, or secondly, you need to increase your income. Anybody would be able to recognize that that is the simple solution. Yes, that if I don't have enough income to meet my expenses, I need to either cut out an expense or find a way to raise my income, or like I said, both. But that's easier said than done. And is that really something I'm capable of doing? Reducing my expenses or increasing my income? Well, let's think that through. First, reducing your expenses. How do I do that? Well, first, taking into consideration the Bible's teaching about the need to be content, also considering other concepts in how desiring wealth. Now, when the Bible says wealth, it just means more than what you need, which we'll get to in a second. This desire to have more stuff creates problems, and so I have to work on not wanting more stuff. Now, it doesn't mean I can't have more stuff, but especially if the income I have going in is not enough to take care of the stuff that I want to have, then I need to not get the stuff. And so I need to work on being satisfied with either what I have, or I need to reduce even what I have. So I already have it, but I need to get rid of some of the stuff that I have. Again, a number of statements in the Bible that help with that reality, especially 1 Timothy 6:8, that says that if we are to be content with food and covering, which could be referring to just food and clothing, it might be referring to shelter, but nonetheless, at minimum, all that we need to be sufficient to have our needs met is to have enough food to keep us alive, enough clothes to keep our body covered, and enough shelter in order for us to have a place to stay. Now, keep in mind a couple of things. So anything that falls out of that category is a want and not a need, and can be eliminated. For example, I do not need to have a car. So if I can't afford the car, I can eliminate it. I do not need to have a cell phone or the internet or cable TV or some kind of streaming service. I don't need those things, so if I can't afford them, I should get rid of them. Also, those three basic needs, there could be, I could spend more or less money on those. So food, for example, I might need food, but I don't necessarily need to eat organic food or buy my food from something outside of Aldi or Walmart. I don't need to go out to eat at a restaurant. Those aren't things I need, so I can cut those things out. I can't afford it. If you have the income for it, then by all means you can buy those things. But if I don't have the income, those are things that have to go until I do. Clothing. I do need something to cover my body. I don't need more than one outfit though. I don't need new clothes. I can get clothes from the thrift store. Shelter. I do need a place to stay. I don't necessarily need to own the house. I don't even need to necessarily have my name on the lease. I can just be staying on the couch somewhere with a friend of mine or a relative of mine. So if I don't have enough money for a lease, if I don't have money to own a house, then I need to eliminate that. Again, if I have the money, I can get those things. But the point is, if I'm struggling financially, I need to reduce the things that I have. I also need to be strategic with the money that I have. Jesus taught the wisdom of this. Proverbs teaches the wisdom of this, to make good choices with your money. And the way you do that is to think ahead, so plan. So if you have an expense that doesn't come monthly, because this is our challenge, we notice the ones that come every month, the utility bills, the food that we need to keep buying, the gas in our car, the mortgage payment. These are things that come regularly, and so we're mindful of those. What we don't think about is that Christmas comes once a year, and once a year I go out and buy a bunch of gifts for people, and that's an expense, but it only comes once a year. So instead of just hoping that things change when December comes, figure out how much I'm going to spend, and if I get paid monthly, then set aside a 1/12 of that every month, so that way when Christmas comes, I have the amount of money I need to purchase those gifts. Considering things that don't come on a scheduled basis, like possible car repairs, possible home repairs, possible medical expenses, things that could start, your clothes all of a sudden wear out and you need more clothes, expenses that again aren't regular and aren't as easy to plan for, but you know that they're coming. You know that probably at some point you're going to have to replace your car. You know you're definitely going to need to spend some money on maintaining it. You know you're going to need to pay for some repairs on your house at some point. You know you're going to have medical bills at some point. All these things you know are highly possible. You know you're going to likely need to be able to retire at some point. So all those things are ahead of me, and I can figure out a reasonable range of what I could possibly need to spend over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and do the math and figure out how much I should be setting aside each paycheck. It's okay that I have money sitting in my account. Some people think that if there's money there, I need to spend it. No, it's all right if you have a balance, because that money is waiting for the expenses that you won't be able to afford just by your monthly income. You need to set aside and save for it. So being smart with your money helps you to be able to handle when life throws its wrenches at us. Secondly, so we want to reduce our expenses. We also need to increase our income. So if I've gotten rid of whatever I need to get rid of, and I've reduced expenses and I still don't seem to have enough, well, the next action is to increase my income. Now, God actually tells us, and that's Deuteronomy 8:18, but again, more details on the June 27th service. God actually says that He's providing for us, but He does it indirectly by giving us the ability and the intellect, skills, favor, and situations that allow us to be able to earn an income, but we have to do the work to get it. So the reason why it's indirectly is, and sometimes God does directly supply these things, but typically God gives you the toolkit, the nuts and bolts of the tools that you need to acquire the income, and then He expects you to go out and pursue the income. Now we can do this in a couple of different ways. One, we can go back to being smart with our money. So if you have possessions that you can sell, make some money off of that. That's a way you can increase your income. People use things like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, other things you could do. If you have a skill or a service that you are good at, and you know how to play piano, offer to teach lessons at an expense. You have tech skills, something that you have that someone would pay a fee for you to help them with. Begin to utilize those skills. That's a way to increase your income without picking up a job. However, if that isn't enough, certainly pick up a job. Whether it's that you have one job but you need to have a second job, or you're on Social Security but you need a job on top of it to make ends meet. whether you have a primary job that's just not cutting it and you go out and find another job that does better. But doing the things that you need to do to bring in more money so that you can meet your expenses. This is something that we need to do to alleviate the financial stress. However, the problem is sometimes we do that. We reduce expenses, we increase our income, and we still feel anxious. Or some of you are already in a place where you have enough to pay your expenses, but you're worried about the what ifs. What if my house has a problem? What if my car breaks down? What if I lose my job? What if inflation comes? And you're worried about those things all the time. And there's a difference between knowing that they're coming and planning for it and doing the work and just doing what you can do reasonably to prepare for that, versus being scared that they're going to come and what am I going to do? If you have this issue, this anxiety with your finances, and you've already done the work that you can do to alleviate it, well, now you need to talk with the Lord. Philippians says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. So now you need to take that anxiety and go to the Lord and say, hey, what gives, Lord? I don't know why things aren't the way it should be. I'm scared. Lord, I don't know why I'm anxious. Is there something wrong with my relationship with you? What's going on? And talk that out with the Lord and let him let him come in and alleviate that pressure that you feel. So that's the start of the journey, is understanding that dynamic, the need to reduce expenses, increase income, and have a trust-based relationship with Jesus Christ. I got those three things going on. For the most part, that should begin to bring relief for your financial pressure. So here on out, we're going to look into more deeply some of the things that are going on in the background with that. So if you have any questions or comments about what was said here, I'm glad to respond to your questions, or I would love to hear your feedback. So please leave that in the comments. I'd greatly appreciate that. If you find the content helpful, useful, please like it. Please share it with somebody else. If you want to be notified when new videos are uploaded on YouTube, hit subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and on Facebook, follow the page. If you would like to make this video more visible to others, besides sharing it, the more interaction you give the video. So if you like it and comment on it and subscribe, you will make the video more available to others. So let's find the relief from this financial pressure that God intends to give us. God bless you.